All right, so welcome. Today we're going to talk about the misconceptions of weight training for jiu-jitsu and for MMA athletes. Who am I? My name is Jules Bruchet. If you don't know me, if you're watching this on whatever platform, I've been a strength coach certified for 20 years. I've trained many clients. I have worked with UFC fighters, Bellator fighters, regular pro fighters, novice fighters, amateurs, wherever you want to call it. I worked them from various sports, from jiu-jitsu to MMA to footballs to lacrosse, whatever, okay? Bullfighters. I'm from Louisiana, so yes, I got some bullfighters on my resume. Besides the cool little names I got behind me that say all the cool things that I've done, which I don't really find always that important. I like to say what you can prove and what you can produce is more important. And so what I have that most trainers don't have is I have hands-on experience, meaning that I also fought in MMA. I'm a retired MMA fighter. I'm an active jiu-jitsu player right now. So these concepts I'm going to go over are things that not only do I apply to myself on a regular basis, but I also have applied in the past, and they're the reason why I do it, because I know the shit works, okay? So, first thing first, I'm gonna warn you right now, I may say some things you probably don't want to hear. So, if you are soft around this area, you might want to turn off the video, move on to another video, something that's gonna make you a little bit more happy, all right? Okay, so first thing that's gonna aggravate you. Just because you are a fighter, that does not make you a good lifter, okay? What I mean by that, okay, so I like to use Dustin Poirier as an example because we came up together fighting and this and that, and I still train him from time to time when he's out of camp from ATA. Because a lot of fighters from my area look up to Dustin, of course, he's a champion right now. But they see these cool exercises that he does with Phil Daru, and they don't understand that Dustin has been training in the gym, not MMA gym, I'm talking about like in the weight room, way back in the day. We started, I think, in 2009 together, and he had been training before that, okay? So it's 2019, people. He has been in the gym. So a lot of these cool exercises you see these guys do on TV, that shit's on TV. And you know what? Sometimes it's made just for TV. And a lot of times it's stuff they really can do. But it doesn't apply to you because everyone's different. That guy's been training a long time, okay? So one thing that I always apply with my athletes is this base system. Base GPP, general preparation, strength, power, and sport speed blocks, okay? Now, when it comes to training athletes, unfortunately, when it comes to MMA and things like that, that is a year-round sport. So what does that mean? That means that's an in-season training sport. It is very hard to adapt and create higher biomotor abilities in the body in a consistent basis. So what do I mean by that? Every other sport has an off season. It's very simple. It doesn't matter if you go up to the Super Bowl. After the Super Bowl is done, everyone takes a break. They kind of relax, rest up their bodies. They're banged up. You know, they're in a combative sport. They all banged up. They hurt. Some got broken bones, this and that. They take a week off, some of them. Some take a month off. Some even take 2 months off. But they get back in there and they got a prep phase, all right? Starts to reintroduce them back into the weight room. Starts working on some of these mobility issues and injuries they may still have lagging. Then they're gonna move into strength phases, and they're gonna move into power phases. They're gonna start creating more conditioning, and then as they get closer into in-season training, they're gonna get into more specific conditioning for their sport. When it comes to in-season training, you see these guys train once, twice a week, okay? They're practicing every day, one time a day, and then they're playing their games on a Sunday or a Saturday, if it's college football, whatever. How does that apply to jiu-jitsu? Well, it doesn't. That's the problem, okay? So you can't expect to perform like this phenomenal elite lifter that you see sometimes in these cool magazines or things like that, because no one's ever taught you how to do power cleans. No one's ever taught you how to do clean and jerks, okay? So trying to just pick up this bar and emulate that exercise is just completely ridiculous, all right? I'm not saying that it's not beneficial, because there's other things you can do that's just as beneficial, all right? The number one thing that does kind of glue everyone together is that you still need this system, okay? So I work at a gym called Lafayette Strong, which is next door to Gladiators Academy in Lafayette, Louisiana. And what that does is I run the Combative Athletes program. And the Combative Athletes program falls for everyone the same way, all right? Unless you want to do one-on-one personal training, that's a different story. But at the same time, it's pretty much the same program. I don't care if you've got 20 pro fights and you're 20-0. I don't care if you got 20 amateur fights and you're 0-20. You have no experience in the weight room. So what do? You're gonna start from the beginning. That's what we do, okay? I start from the beginning. Why is that important? Well, because the number one aspect in every sport is conditioning. What I mean by conditioning, I mean, can you put forth effort over and over and over and over, all right? People don't understand that weight training does not make you a better fighter, okay? That's what tactical skill practices are for. Weight training, period, is to reduce the chances of injury. That is the number one thing. If another trainer tells you another reason is number one, they're fucking lying to you. One is to reduce the chance of injury. Notice I did not say stop injuries, because that's not possible. You are in a combative sport, okay? People are trying to hurt you on purpose, so which means you're gonna get hurt. So suck it up. Now, one, we want to reduce the injury factor. Two, when we do get injured, we are strong enough and healthy enough and conditioned enough to either one, keep progressing while injured, still be able to put forth effort and still practice, or we recover faster. Now, once we pass these 2 points, our next point is we want to get stronger, all right? The stronger we are, the better we are in every other aspect, okay? Now, when we focus on strength training, at the beginning, our base, this is our base block, okay? How long does that block last? Well, I don't know. In my territory, if you come to my gym, that's a 3-month long block. Because if you think that you're just gonna get in shape and be ready to rock and roll after 1 month, you're delusional, okay? So we need to take our time to build you appropriately the way you need to be, all right? So what do I mean by that? Well, conditioning, like I said, we need to make sure that you can keep putting forth out effort, all right? We need to make sure you're not getting tired, That's important, isn't it? That's more important than anything, especially when it comes to fighting, because it doesn't matter if you really are really, really strong or really, really fast, or you're really good. You're just really good at busting people's ass. Once you get tired, everything goes out the window. It's done. Done. Okay? So, you can suck or you can be a phenom, but you're still going to have to start right here. Okay? All right? And that's one thing that I emphasize to all fighters. You need to build yourself up appropriately. Why on God's earth would I start way over here on the last thing, on speed, when you can't even like hit mitts for 2 minutes? You can't even jump rope. You can't even get through the warm-up. Do you know how many people I know that are actually good in jiu-jitsu or good in actually in MMA, but they can't even get through a warm-up? They're like gassed. How are you supposed to get anything accomplished if you can't breathe? I don't know if y'all know this, but if you can't breathe, you die. Okay, so our base is we're gonna work on making sure that we're not really too tight. We can move freely, okay? Got a lot of problems in jiu-jitsu and MMA with guys being like this, the hunchback of Notre Dame, okay? That's a lot of forward rounded shoulders. We got tight chest muscles. We got overactive traps. Probably get a lot of headache problems, okay? That's gonna cause you to not be able to get out of clinches. You're not gonna be able to rotate your scapula across your rib cage, will allow more punching power. So all that gets slowed down. This is important stuff. We need to work on these things, okay? So we're gonna work on building your upper back, okay? You want a trick? Here we go. Here's the best thing you can do for yourself as an athlete. Go in the mirror, flex. Write down every muscle you see. Now, every muscle you see, don't work it out. Work out all the other ones you don't see. Why? Because those are the ones that are important. Everything you don't see in the mirror, butt, hamstrings, calves, feet. Feet are important in jiu-jitsu and combat athletes, extremely important. Back, traps, everything, glutes, lower back, that is what holds everything together, okay? You gotta have that trained. So that's what we're working on. We're working on a lot of muscles you can't see. Gonna work on a lot of mobility, okay? We're gonna work on some good old school strongman strength, okay? Gonna do a lot of farmer's carries, things like that, okay? Gonna work on our aerobic base. So I'm gonna go run like 3 miles a day? No, that's the stupidest thing you can do, all right? Aerobic base is just getting past basically the 120-second mark, getting to the 2 minute mark where you can effectively buffer out lactic acid in your body and also take in oxygen at an easy pace. It's not too hard, okay? But it's the basis to build upon, okay? Now, without getting super technical, there are different ways of doing it. One of the best ways is simply just, like I make a lot of my guys do, I use a lot of farmer's carries and just light jogs after their workouts, okay? A lot of back and forth, light jogs, things like that, okay? Some of them tell me they like to go run in the mornings, kind of helps them wake up, kind of gets the soreness out. Nothing wrong with that. 10 minutes max. 10 minutes max. Don't go run long distance, all right? Okay? I said I wasn't going to throw science at you. Well, how about this? It's been proven that if you go run long distance, you'll actually convert your fast twitch fibers into slow twitch fibers. Fast twitch fibers move fast. That's how you get strong. That's how you get powerful. That's how you explode. That's where your speed comes from. If you turn those into slow twitch, you become a slug in the water, okay? So we don't want to go running a long distance. You want to build up your aerobic capacity at a lighter pace. Run about 75% for about 30 to 45 seconds, even 2 minutes if you want. Walk until you catch your breath or until your heartbeat hits around 120, and hit it again, and then hit it again. That's a better way to build up aerobic capacity, okay? So we're gonna do a lot of sled pushing. We're gonna do a lot of farmer's carries. We're gonna work on our anaerobic capacity, not just from jogging, but also from movements, okay? Now, not a lot of crazy stuff, just getting our body primed for what's to come, okay? So once we're done with that block, we're gonna move into the strength block, okay? What strength? Okay, it's obvious. We know what strength is, all right? We want to get stronger, okay? But we're not just going to just forget about all the other aspects that go into the training module, all right? So that's why we use the conjugated method. What is the conjugated method? Well, right now, it's pretty popular, but it's been popular forever with good strength coaches is basically, you're taking a couple of different styles and you're just jamming them all together, all right? So we're using strength, we're using a repetition method, we're using a speed method maybe, a power method. We're gonna incorporate all that into somehow either one workout or throughout the week. You can do it either way. Doesn't really bother me. I don't care. There's a lot of different ways to skin a cat. So, but what you don't want to do is just constantly go in every day and, oh, I'm gonna do heavy, I'm gonna do heavy, I'm gonna do heavy, I'm gonna do heavy. I'm not a fan of that, okay? That's one thing I don't like about the conjugated method all in one day, is because you're hitting a lot of strength exercises, roughly in the anywhere from 85, that's on the low end, all the way up to 95%. This is good for fighters. If you're into bodybuilding or other sports, like if it's off season, maybe you are a fighter or a jiu-jitsu player and you have zero competitions coming up for a while, you're kind of like just training and just refining your technique. We can get closer into the 97% to 100%. And then you've got like overloaded eccentrics at 105, which is extremely rare. I don't use with fighters at all. It causes way too much muscle damage. Even though the eccentrics are extremely important for just the general population, when it comes to strength training, it's just shit. It's just an overkill for those guys, all right? But we're gonna use the conjugated method, and I'm also gonna use DUP, which is the way I do things, daily undulating periodization, okay? And so what I mean by that is I'm not the biggest fan of hybrid rep schemes, all right? Oh, so our first exercise is 3x4. Man, the next one's gonna be 4x8, and then we're gonna finish with 2x12. It works. It does work. I just don't do it anymore. I used to do that. I actually used to do that back in 2010 with Tim Crater and Dustin Poirier and myself when we trained. I did a lot of Bulgarian methods of on the speed continuums when we got closer to fights, and it worked, but I just find that it's like too much on the nervous system, especially as the fighters begin to get older, okay? And I've also noticed this. If an older fighter can't train the same way as a younger fighter in the weight room, then the younger fighter should emulate the older fighter. Well, why is that? That doesn't make sense. My own personal belief, and I'm sure I have tons of strength coaches start tearing me a new one on this one, but I find that the body is trying to tell you something, okay? So if you're older and your hormones are lower, which is basically the only reason why you're not recovering as well. So your hormones are lower, you know, you're getting older, you can't do as much as you used to, you can't get away with as much as you used to when you were younger. Well, that's a dead giveaway on that you're already overstimulating the body, okay? So this is why I like to use DUP. What I'm gonna do with DUP is I like to stay with the same rep scheme for that whole day, all right? And so when I say that we're gonna use the conjugated method, we may do heavy on one day, and on our next day, we're gonna do a lighter day. We're gonna do more of a recovery day, okay? So this is more of a stimulation day, then we're gonna do a recovery day, and then after that, hopefully our nervous system begins to adapt, all right? And then so we will manipulate the rep schemes that way. We will manipulate the rep schemes daily, not all in one day, throughout the week, okay? So this follows on for every block. So once we establish a good strength block, and for right now, what I do for my fighters, you basically have 3 months, 3 months, 2 months, and probably 2 months right there. Depending on how you're doing, I may take something out, move it around, just depends. But we'll get into power, all right? Same thing with power. We'll just start incorporating power days, okay? So also what we're gonna do in power days is we're gonna start working more of the alactic system, which is also in strength, but we're gonna start working alactic power system. And so we're gonna increase the amount of force and effort that we can move an object given in the period of time. And so we're gonna use things like power cleans and things like that. Now, can't use power cleans because guys too old, don't have time to learn them. Guys, young lady or boys too young, don't have time to teach all this shit, all right? Bro, gotta get fast, gotta knock someone out. What's the deal here, okay? I ain't got time to sit here and to do a tutorial on power cleans every damn day. So we can do like speed benching and jump squats and other accelerated lifts with bands and things like that. Now, when we get into sport speed, roughly around this second month, I'll start using complexes, all right? Thanks to Tudor Bumpa, really wrote an awesome book years ago, and Donald Chu, and really just kind of like, wow, blew my mind. Old books, you know, but just very simplistic, very good pairing of exercises that really stimulate the nervous system to create good power development. And so we'll start using complexes in here. When we get into sport speed, then we'll start establishing more of like ballistic movements. We'll start using a lot more med ball training, a lot of agility work and footwork. I will start using ladder drills just for agility purposes of just fine-tuning the nervous system, waking it up, getting it ready. Here, I will start pushing the limit, pushing for the speed factor, making sure our rests are just on point, making sure that we have a good rest for a speed day so we stimulate the nervous system adequately to train for speed, excuse me. But then also, we're going to make sure that we also start adapting into our conditioning and making sure they don't overlap on the wrong days and things like that, so that way we don't mess up our speed training. Now, wow, that's a lot of shit. You know, that could be like a year-long process for a new guy. You know, well, how am I supposed to get in shape? Well, okay, look, here's the thing. No matter what you do, you're gonna be getting better, okay? To think that you're gonna sit back and watch one of the really cool UFC shows that show the guys training for the fights and things like that, that's not you. You know why? Because you're not the world champion, okay? And so those people have been training for a long time, okay? So they have coaches specifically designing things for them, all right? To them, all right? So you need to do this. You need to prepare your body so that way one day when the opportunity presents itself, you will be prepared, okay? This is what we're doing. We're building our body. We're creating an environment that is optimal for work process, so that way when opportunities present themselves, you're able to take that opportunity and produce what you need to at a drop of a dime, because you've been preparing. You are ready. You're not just Joe Blow stuck in the water and like, oh, I don't know what to do, all right? Also, at any time, it doesn't matter what block you're in. If you have a fight coming up and you're suffering from conditioning, and I will do certain conditioning tests with you, depending on what you tell me you're hurting with in practice, then I will determine what you need. Do you need more aerobic, which, Jesus, by that point you shouldn't. Do you need more alactic? Do you need more alactic capacity? Do you need lactate capacity? All right, these are different. There's basically three major energy systems that you need to develop. You don't really want to develop them all at once because it's just too much. So you want to periodically utilize this system so that way you can prepare yourself. And then when my guys or girls have a fight coming up, then I can specifically pinpoint, yeah, you're suffering probably from this, this, and this. And as I go talk to their coach, they'll say, yeah, but man, it's just like at a second, it's like they can keep going, but they just got no more power. I know what they need, all right? And so I can manipulate everything and start giving them a certain program for that. And they'll just stay on this weight program. They'll just stay on it. A week before the fight, they'll just quit working out. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal at all. This is the same type of system that I used to see in Romania with, I'm trying to think of the strength coach. I think it was Jivorkian. He's real famous for making complexes and stuff. But he said like he'd have a cycle and all the blocks were done. And this whole entire cycle led up to like the World Championships, you know, or the Olympics, you know, whatever the most biggest event was at the end of the year. And they had events throughout the year. And all he would do is just make them stop lifting like 2 or 3 days before the meet. And then they would lift for the meet. And then that Monday, boom, they'd be back in the gym, back on schedule again. All right? Because you can't just keep trying to prepare for a fight every single time. Now, once you create this good solid base, and you've been doing this for years on end, then when you see a world championship fighter, you're in the top 10 and you're fighting once every 4 months, we have an ability to go back and then now start backtracking and work ourselves back up to a peak and then come back down and work ourselves at a peak and then come back down. But you can't just train peak, 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 peak all the time. It doesn't work that way, all right? So that is how to train for MMA and grapplers. I hope I pissed you off, but I hope I enlightened you into understanding a little bit better on my concepts and why it works and what I do with my fighters. Now, if you're interested, you can contact me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever you're watching this on. Probably YouTube now because the video is so damn long. But my app is developed. It is actually out. I just haven't told anyone yet. So if you're unable to train with me and meet with me one-on-one, if you're looking for personal coaching over online, you can download my app and we can get together and come up with a program, or I can give you the base program if you are a beginner into the weight room. Not a beginner fighter, a beginner into the weight room, all right? Either way, you can come meet me at Lafayette Strong here in Lafayette, Louisiana, right next to Gladiators Academy of Lafayette, where I train most of the MMA fighters over there. And if you want to meet with me face to face, you can come talk to me then, all right? Otherwise, we can hit me up, I can talk to you on the phone, and we can discuss any issues that you may be having or concerns. That's about it. You have a good day.